Well, hello, good afternoon, good afternoon. It's not good morning anywhere, right? It is somewhere, but certainly not with our group here. My name is Paul, and this is Lonnie, and I'd like to welcome you to our virtual Boulder beer tasting experience. Before we go any further, wave if you can hear me. We can see you. Good, awesome, okay. This is going to be kind of an interactive beer tasting experience, and we're going to be doing some giveaways today. So in order for this giveaway experience to happen, you're going to have to be able to interact with us. So we'll be asking some questions, and you will type in your answers, and whoever answers those questions first will be winning some fabulous prizes. But before we get into that, Lonnie, why don't you tell them a little bit about what we're going to experience, what we're giving away, and what we're tasting?
Sure. We sent out these kits, and what you should have received are these 4 wonderful beers, all based from Boulder breweries. These are all award-winning beers and examples of styles that we're fans of, and some of my favorite breweries as well. In the kit as well, you should have received a little OURAY koozie. If you don't know what's a koozie, just slap it and wrap it around your can. And we also have a bottle and can opener that you should have received as well. And along with that, we have some fantastic snacks that we'll be pairing with some of the beers. You have your Boulder Canyon sea salt chips. We have the Justin's peanut butter cups and Duke's Tall Boys meat sticks. So
no, wait a minute. You're calling it a meat stick. I mean, it is a shorty sausage, smoked sausage. You don't want to be calling it a meat stick. You're not in marketing, are you?
No, I'm not. I do beer.
Yeah, he does beer, but it's a meat stick.
It's a meat stick. You know, in layman's terms, it's a meat stick.
If you're a vegetarian, it's a meat stick. Okay, but go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, yeah, no. And in those cases, you should also receive a couple of cards. So one of the cards here has our beers, and it gives you little notes you can follow along with. We're going to talk about the look, smell, taste. You can write down your own notes so you can share those with friends later. And then we also have a little thank you card for joining, and also a little heads up to our Transportation Response Symposium, and that's September 8th of 2025. That'll be happening live at in Boulder.
Yeah, Boulder, Colorado.
Boulder, Colorado.
And the prizes that we are giving away when we ask these trivia questions, which you will type in your answers, and whoever types in that answer first will receive one of these fabulous prizes. And the first prize we'll be giving away is a Yeti cup here, and also, yes,
a little Yeti cooler, a little bucket cooler, fantastic, very
and they're
portable.
branded with
OURAY.
Yes, who is our sponsor today. And we will be having Aaron Montgomery here, who is the CEO of OURAY. He'll be coming on shortly to talk a little bit about OURAY. And also our final grand prize is
A little homebrew kit.
a little homebrew kit, because we know part of the reason you're here is because you like beer. And if you don't like beer, you're going to love beer when you're done with this interactive experience here today, because we're going to do some fabulous beer tasting. What else we got? We got to start with the cheers, don't we?
Yeah, I think we'll start with a little cheers. We'll open up a beer. I mean, I'm thirsty. So I'm always thirsty. And then we'll hand it over to our host. But does anybody have a cheers out there that they like to do? Throw it out there for us.
Yeah, and they got to turn on their microphone first to do that, don't they?
Yeah. If anyone has a cheers they're willing to share with us, that'd be great.
Now, wait a minute. We're going to ask you to open which beer first?
We're going to start with the Avery White Rascal. So we'll talk about it after the presentation, but just to get things started, we'll just crack open this and have a little taste. There you go.
And now we'll talk about this beer after Aaron talks. We'll let we want you to not be too much into the beer, so that you can pay attention to what Avery has to say. But we'll do a little cheers first, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about this beer. Who wants to do the cheers? Who do we got out there?
Any willing participants?
Anybody got a good cheers you want to? The gentleman in the set there who's actually sipping it, who's got a handsome-looking beer there. What's your name, sir?
Looks like Robert. Robert.
Is that Robert? Robert, you probably got a good cheers you want to. You get your beer out in front of you, and you do the big salute. You want to do that first, Robert?
Sure. I mean, I don't have a favorite cheer, but
You got it. You got. It looks like we're among gentlemen here. You want to go ahead and just give something, say something appropriate or inappropriate.
inappropriate. I don't know. To good beer. I don't know.
I'll drink to that.
It's a good beer, and then he qualified it by saying, "I don't know." That's good. That's good. Fair enough.
Yeah,
All right.
It's a good beer. We don't
Cheers,
know.
everybody. Oh, I can't
Good
wait.
way to start.
Can't wait to get into more of that.
You know what? We're going to do our first question, and whoever types in the answer to this, you're going to get that first prize, which is going to be this here Yeti cup. So I'll go ahead and ask this first question, and whoever types in this correct answer first is going to get that Yeti cup. We will send it to you. How many breweries are there in Boulder, Colorado? I'll give you a hint. It's under 100. Okay? How many breweries are in Boulder, Colorado? Type in your answer. Do we have anybody with the correct answer? Or should we give it to whoever's do we got Robert Miller? Robert, guess what? What's your answer?
I said 20.
Guess what? You're correct. It is 20. Did you look it up or did you just know?
I just knew.
You just knew. And you also gave the cheers too. So, Robert, here's to you. We're going to send you your very own 20-ounce Yeti tumbler. Congratulations. That's going to you.
Thank you.
And without further ado, I would like to introduce Aaron Montgomery, the CEO of OURAY. Aaron, welcome to our program, and he's also our sponsor today. Yeah. So without further ado, welcome to the show.
I feel like I'm the one between everybody and the beer. So
we almost got to. We should get you a beer here.
I've got some beers out there. I'm gonna join along as well.
So welcome. Do you know any of the folks that are out here? On the program.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, one of which I spoke to earlier today. So, not to be named.
So I want to start off with a question that has nothing to do with your company except the name. The name is OURAY. Where's that come from?
Comes from the OURAY, Colorado, town in Colorado.
And does anybody know where OURAY got its name?
Well, besides me.
Besides you. It was the name. I know this because I'm kind of a history buff. It comes from the Ute Indian tribe in the state of Colorado in this area, and OURAY was the chief of the Indian, the Native American tribe, the Utes. So it's a very potent, powerful name, OURAY, Chief OURAY. But go ahead. I'll just to give you that.
I used to do a lot of ice climbing, so it's like the ice climbing mecca of the world there. So. That's
it's a mountainous. It's in the mountains, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. That was I believe where they kept their summer camp was up there, in the mountains.
It's a good place for that.
So tell us a little bit about your company because you deal with hazardous waste.
Well, yeah, sometimes, but chemicals. Yeah, we're basically a global chemical services company. So that includes emergency response, includes certified tank rail car repair. We do a lot of repairs on leaking. Containers, ISO tanks, railroad tank cars, road tankers, mostly bulk, but smaller commodities, cylinders, gases, liquids, solids. Yeah, we solve complicated problems. Usually.
And where do you serve? Is it basically in the United States?
Most of the work we do is still in North America, but we have our Singapore location as well. We service Asia out of there. We go all over. We've done projects in Brazil and the Philippines and Europe, the Middle East, wherever our customers need us. And the government lets us go.
And that was another question I was going to ask you. Are there places where you absolutely are forbidden to go, where you're not allowed in?
Yeah, I mean, we're a U.S. company, so places that are embargoed and stuff we can't get to. But most of our customers are European or U.S. companies as well, so they don't ship there anyways.
Does anybody out there have any questions? You got an opportunity to talk to the CEO here. Anybody have any questions that you would like to ask of Aaron? Take your time. That's okay. Is there any things that you would like to share about your company that's something that's unknown about them, something that's not common knowledge? One of the questions I early was going to ask: are there any things that are like that hands off that you won't take care of? Certain.
Not really. I mean, we do a lot of work with what we call materials of high consequence, or a lot of people call high haz products. So, anhydrous hydrogen fluoride and ethylene oxide and things. So we do manage a lot of what we call potentially hazardous products that carry a lot of potential hazards to human health and life. But we don't. There's things we don't do a lot of. We don't do a lot of like radiation. But our customers are mostly large chemical manufacturers, chemical shippers, logistics companies. So they're not shipping a lot of radioactive materials.
What's an ISO tank?
It's so if you're familiar with the dry box container or Connex box, they've got a lot of different names. Basically, the big metal boxes that go on ships, they go on rail, they go on trucks. It's that same size frame with the tank inside. So
is that a special kind of tank?
They can be. Some can be really specialized. They've got T11s, which is kind of your 98% of the fleet is a T11 bottom outlet valve type thing. Standard construction, metal thickness, 5 mil stainless steel, and then you've got your higher end T14s, T20s, T22s. T50 is a gas tank. T75 is a cryogenic tank. We do a lot of work with ISO tanks from.
Now, we're sponsoring a beer tasting right now, and we've chosen all beers from Colorado. Why are you sponsoring a beer tasting right now today?
I just thought it would be interesting. I mean, I like beer. I know a lot of our customers like beer, like the culture around beer. Drew, who works with us, he's done some brewing. It made a lot of sense. And
these are all Colorado Boulder beers. Why Boulder?
Well, Boulder, like was mentioned earlier, is where our 2025 OURAY Transportation and Response Symposium will be. So, yeah, we're
so there's a
excited.
method to this madness.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Aaron, I got a question for you now.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's going to be covered at the symposium, since I missed last year?
Yeah. So we're going to be a lot of regulatory updates, as well as response tactics, knowledge on containers, a lot of shared knowledge. So very excited. We haven't done our agenda for this one yet, but we had some feedback from the last one talking about different regulations around placarding in different locations around the world. But if you have something you want to have covered or discussed, we're still open. We're effectively, 10 months away. It'll be September of next year. But yeah, from everything from response, transportation compliance, a lot of rail car regulations as well. It doesn't. Maybe you want to come talk about compressed gas. How about that?
I don't know anything about that, buddy.
We know that's not true, Mr. Lindy Gas.
Great.
Talk.
Well, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to come here to
super happy to do it,
sponsor this, to support it. Is there anything else you want to plug in here before we get into our beer tasting?
No, that's good. Cheers. Have fun.
Great. We're gonna have Aaron vacate his seat here so that we can bring Lonnie back in here, get to the beer tasting, do some more giveaways, and without further ado, you guys ready to crack into some beer? Yeah, let's do it. All right, Lonnie, what do you say?
Well, before we get into beer, I'm feeling generous. Why don't we give some more stuff away while we
You're
can?
so generous. All right.
I'm a nice guy.
All right, he is a nice guy. Once again, thanks, Aaron, for sharing that time and for sponsoring this program, because I want to drink some beer.
I want to drink some beer.
Let's get into this first tasting. Let's do our another one of these giveaways.
Let's give away this Yeti cooler.
All right,
let's give away this first, and then we'll get into the beer. But
let's do it. Okay.
All right.
All right. Next question. Question is, what kind of rail car and ISO tank is beer typically shipped in? Who would know the answer to this? Whoever can type that answer in, we're going to go ahead and give you that OURAY ice. Do we have somebody with an answer? Nobody's got the answer to that. You know what? If nobody has the answer to this, I'm going to give the answer and I'll ask an easier question. Nobody got the answer? 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. Nope. The answer is the .111, or DOT 111, and the T11 or T11. Let's ask another question instead. We'll go an easier. What is the only bird that can fly backwards? Anybody know the only bird that can fly backwards? There's only one. Give you a hint. It's a very small bird.
It's not an ostrich.
Thomas, what is that bird, Thomas?
Hummingbird. It is
a hummingbird. Thomas, guess what? We're going to send you that ice cooler. The
Awesome.
hummingbird. Hummingbird is the only bird that can fly backwards. Guess what? You're gonna keep your beer on ice. Let's talk about our first beer, shall we?
All right, yeah, let's get into the beer portion of this. As you mentioned, my name's Lonnie, and if you're wondering why I'm talking to you about beer, I grew up around home brewers. I'm a level 1 Cicerone. If you're not familiar with what a Cicerone is, it's what a sommelier is to wine, a Cicerone is to beer. I owned and operated my own brewery in Minneapolis, Minnesota for 6 years until COVID shut us down, and I just love beer. So we've selected some of our favorite styles and breweries in Boulder. We're going to start off with our first beer here, the White Rascal. This is one of my all-time favorite beers here. This is a good beer for all occasions. What we have here is a Belgian wit beer. And you can tell by the color here why they call it white. Or why they call it a wit beer.
So
it has kind of a white color.
Wit means white. Is that it?
It
Wit
does,
okay.
but it also, wit beers contain a lot of wheat. And so to kind of go over the brewing process, just to help explain some of these beers and maybe break it down for you, beers basically contain 4 ingredients. And according to the German beer purity law, the Reinheitsgebot, it can only contain 4 ingredients: barley, water, yeast, and hops. The Reinheitsgebot has changed a little bit where they include yeast or wheat and some other like grains, but primarily it's those 4 ingredients. And what you do with those 4 ingredients determines what style of beer you have. And there's only 2 kinds of beer in the whole world. There's lagers and ales.
That's it.
That's it. So all beer styles either compromise or either a lager or an ale. And the difference between those two are that they're fermented with different type of yeast. So a lager is fermented at cooler temperatures with a yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and then ales are fermented at warmer temperatures using a yeast Saccharomyces posturanus. And those are happier at cooler temperatures, and some are happier at warmer temperatures. And then you add the grain, which, depending on how you roast it, will give you the color. This one is a lighter color. This is more done with wheat, so it's why we have this light white-ish color. Mm-hmm. But then as we get into like a stout, those use like what they call chocolate malts, which are almost like burnt, which gives it like dark kind of roasty character. And then the type of hop you use will give you those bitter notes to it. And then the type of yeast you use will also give you kind of like fruity or kind of like
now, how do you determine the different kinds of yeast? I thought yeast was yeast, but clearly that is not true.
No, it's if you're going to make an ale, you'll use one type of yeast, and if you want to make particular like fruity notes in it, you'll use different varieties of an ale yeast. And if like this is an ale, mm-hmm. but it uses a very particular kind of a wit yeast, which gives you these kind of like banana kind of fruity esters to it. So if you put your nose in there, you kind of get like kind of a yeasty, kind of like banana notes to it. Mm-hmm. And let's go ahead and taste it. And so this is kind of on the lighter, fruitier style.
It's good.
Good. Very easy drinking. Again, this is one of my favorite beers from one of my favorite breweries. And the wit style was originally created in about the 15th century in Belgium, brewed by monks. And this is actually a recreation of a 15th century recipe that Avery has done. So they basically went back, they saw what was being brewed in the 15th century by the Belgian monks, and they recreated a recipe, and that's what gives you the White Rascal.
Good name, White Rascal. So I know when you're drinking wine, you hold it up, you swirl it around, look, and you do the same, pretty much the same thing with beer.
Not so much sniff, not so much swirling, but it's kind of look at it. You kind of judge the clarity. You can tell this one is like unfiltered, which gives it that kind of cloudiness. You give a little sniff, you get those the kind of fruity notes to it, and then you get the taste. So similar to wine, but there's not a lot of swirling going on. So has anyone had this beer before or tried a wit beer? Some common examples on the market would be like Blue Moon. If you have Blue Moon, that's considered like a wit beer. And if you want to try another really great example of a wit beer, the Hoegaarden. Hoegaarden does a wit, which is what this recipe is based on, a Belgian recipe from the town of Hoegaarden. But Hoegaarden is...
Where's Hoegaarden?
Belgium.
Belgium.
Yeah.
By the way, if you have your card out, you can see the White Rascals on there. You can make some notes on that. Since there's only 5 of you guys on there, where are you guys from? You can unmute yourself and just tell me where are you from? Each of you.
New Jersey.
Anybody from New Jersey?
Montana.
Alabama, New Jersey. Where in
Montana?
New Jersey?
I think it's Montana.
Hamilton
Park. Florham Park.
All right. Florham Park. I lived in New York City. I was in Hoboken for years, but
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Wichita, Kansas.
Wichita. All right, Wichita. You getting some snow out there yet?
Not yet. Thank the Lord.
It's on its way. And I got Boulder. Is Boulder there? I got somebody with a Colorado shirt. Boulder?
Yeah, I grew up in Denver, went to undergrad at Boulder. I live on Long Island now.
Nice.
All right. And who else?
I'm
Bethlehem,
from Wichita,
PA.
Kansas as well. Oh, go ahead, bud. My bad.
Sorry, Bethlehem, PA.
In Bethlehem, PA. All right, Bethlehem. Steel country.
That's right.
Yep. Lived in, I've spent some time there. Not a lot, but great. So we got, used to be. Yeah, right, exactly. So make some notes on these. And if you like them, like he said, Blue Moon, you said is very similar to this.
Blue Moon is another style of a wit beer. It's commonly available. If you have any questions, just go ahead and shoot them out or type them in the chat. We'll be checking that. If you want to ask any questions. Do we have any home brewers? Anybody tried home brewing beer?
Okay, I just found out there's other people on the call, but they don't have their cameras on. So
yeah, if you have any questions, anyone, just go ahead, type it in the chat. We'll get to them. And please share any thoughts or tasting notes that you're experiencing. We'll love to interact with everybody. So this was our first beer.
That's an easy one. I like it.
So we're kind of starting from lightest to darkest. And this was an ale, and now we're going to move into a lager. So
now when you're doing a tasting like this, does that mean they gotta finish the whole beer before we go into the next one?
I mean, I would recommend finishing each beer, but like I know some people are working. It's the middle of the afternoon.
Some of you have to walk later, so maybe maybe you don't want to drink the whole beer. You might want to set it aside and do them a little bit at a time, right?
I will attempt to finish every beer.
Yeah, but you're a pro. You're a pro. Okay.
So this was a good example of a lighter ale on the lighter side of the beer spectrum. We're going to move up a step to a lager. And as I mentioned before, lager, this is a craft lager. A common example of lagers would be like, Budweiser's, all American beers are essentially what they call American Pilsners. All Pilsners are lagers, but not all lagers are Pilsners.
Okay.
So this one, go ahead and crack it open. This is Upslope, fantastic award-winning brewery. This is their lager, which is not considered a Pilsner because Pilsner generally entails that it's from a specific region, even though you have American Pilsners. And we're going to pair this with our first snack, the Boulder Canyon Classic Sea Salt Chips. So go ahead, crack open your beer, crack open your chips. We're going to have a little tasting here together.
Now, how do you crack open chips? Just
there you go. Bottoms up.
by the way, these are pretty good chips. If you never had Boulder chips,
Oh yeah, these are great.
they're
These are
pretty
great. So we're going to take a look at our lager. And again, lager is a type of beer that's fermented at cooler temperatures. It differentiates from an ale. Lagers are usually more malt forward in flavor, where ales are typically kind of more hop forward. So these kind of focus on the malts and not so much hops. Just enough hops to kind of balance the sweetness. So you kind of get some bready notes on the nose. Mm-hmm. You can tell this is a little more clear. It's a little bit lighter color. They usually refer to beer colors in SRM, which is like the standard reference method. It goes from like 0 to like 40. So this would be considered like a 4 to 6 on the color spectrum. So you can tell this one's a bit different. This one doesn't have as like much of the fruity kind of banana notes to it. This is more of like bready, almost kind of like white bread kind of cracker notes to it.
Let me ask you a question about pairing, because you didn't put any pairing with the first one.
No, the first one is kind of one.
This one, why?
Yeah, well, this one is kind of a more common flavor. I mean, it also pairs with a lot of like other things. The first one, I just wanted to get us into beer. Thomas likes it. That's good. I'm glad you're enjoying this one. Lagers are my favorite style of beer. If I'm going to be specific, like Pilsners in general are my favorite style. But they're just very easy drinking, very clean tasting. They don't have like a very like strong finish necessarily. And we paired it with these Boulder Classic sea salt chips because it's just a really solid. I mean, it reminds me of like Sunday afternoon, watching a ball game. You know, you're drinking a beer, you're having some chips. The saltiness works really well with the maltiness. Kind of a palate cleanser in between.
I don't think you poured enough in mine.
Oh, we got more, Paul.
Get a little more.
Yeah. There you go. Don't be shy.
Yeah, that's good.
We're working.
That's good.
So, any thoughts on this one? Are we enjoying this one?
What do you guys think? Got a thumbs up there?
Does it work with the chips? I mean, this is just like easy going. We're in the kiddie pool side of this so far.
Okay, so we're still beginners on this.
Oh, well, I mean, entry level. You know, we're going to get into some bigger flavors coming up in the next two beers. But this is just one of those really easy drinking, really enjoyable combinations here. Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorites. And again, lagers are the most popular style of beer in America. I mean, your Pabsts, your Coors, your Budweisers, those are all lagers. They call them American Pilsners, but they all are in the lager family. Robert Dagan likes it. Robert says it's easy going. It is. It's just very drinkable. That's what I like about it.
Now, I'm a little older than you, but I don't remember being introduced to anything but lagers when I was younger. Lager was the beer. And
it was.
IPAs came out, and I went, what the heck is this?
Yeah, I mean, homebrewing became legal in the late 70s. And so before that, beer was just kind of beer. And then once homebrewing came about, people started experimenting with flavors. And then once hops become more popular, they started to get into the like more ales. And then it just went from like white cans labeled beer to like microbreweries with like 80 IBU beers and as hoppy as you could make it. And so the beer trend over the last like 30, 40 years has gone from like American Pilsners to like triple IPAs. Now it's like onto like tangerine sours and milkshakes, you know? So the beer styles have gone all over. Wow. But yeah, back then, like people didn't really experiment with beer that much, you know? They just want some easy drinking, some good like vessel of alcohol that they could just throw back, you know? But yeah, these days, now that homebrew is popular and it's like more accessible, everyone's really tried to like open up and trying to experiment with all kinds of different beers.
Somebody just said, Trent said the chips are a great palate cleanser.
Yeah, very easy.
Good call. Good call. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now that we got a little bit of beer in our system, why don't we give something away?
Should we do another giveaway?
Yeah. Why don't we give away another
Yeti cup?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right, we got another trivia question here. You did so well with the last one. Okay. Okay. No, you'll get this one. Which yeast byproduct makes beer bubbly or carbonated? Which year byproduct makes beer bubbly?
Which yeast byproduct makes bubbles in beers? Wayne, Wayne got it right away.
Wayne got it.
All right, Wayne, give it to us. What yeast byproduct makes beer bubbly?
Oh,
Good. You want to shout it out?
carbon dioxide, the greenhouse gas. And of course, I'm a chemist, so.
Just belch it out. Go right ahead there. Yeah.
No, 100% correct.
He's correct.
So those magical little creatures we call yeast are what give us alcohol and carbon dioxide. So in the brewing process, what we basically do is we take grain, we seep it in hot water to extract the sugars, and then we introduce yeast into this and try to give yeast their perfect little environment so they're very happy and reproduce. And we give yeast all the food they need, which is the sugars. They eat the sugars. They then they burp out carbon dioxide, and then they excrete alcohol, those wonderful little things.
Well, I don't know the way you describe that, but
It's so romantic.
burping and excretion. I mean, but okay.
I mean,
It's
that's what's
probably
going
all
on.
true, but it's not marketing heaven. But
I mean, John's calling it yeast poop. So
yeast poop. Okay,
Yeah.
John, what do you are you in marketing, John? Never mind. But yes, he's absolutely. Who's the gentleman in the body? Can you read with the sunglasses and what's his name?
was it Trent?
Trent. Is that you, Trent, with the sunglasses on?
That's just a reflection on my camera.
Trent, Trent, you had a still shot of you for the entire time, and then all of a sudden you started moving, and I thought, holy crap, he's moving there. But it looked like a still shot, and now you're moving. So it kind of took me by surprise there. Glad to, you had the beer and you came to life. It's like
Most
all of a sudden-
definitely, it's
It
brought me to
worked.
life.
It worked. It worked. So you got a preference between the two that you've just tasted?
I did like the Avery one a little bit more, but this one is pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we're moving from light. Now we're gonna get into some little bigger flavors as we move
Yeah.
on here. But yeah, no, yeast are a magical little creature. They give us like fermentation. They give us alcohol. If it wasn't for yeast, we would have no alcohol.
I got to quickly ask you a question because, and I've done a number of these tastings with you before. It was always the monks that did all this stuff.
Yeah,
What's the secret behind the monks and alcohol?
Well, I mean, they back in the day, like the beer and things were made for kind of nourishment, and they were always the ones that had like extra time, and it was also part of like religion. Like
Yep.
they considered it part of like their religion to create these things, and so they were really on the forefront of brewing. Yeah, but back then
they made the wine too.
they made wine, but back then they didn't even know about yeast. They're like, if we put this stuff together, something magical happens, and we get this lovely beverage. It wasn't until later on that they realized the yeast was what's giving us alcohol and all this lovely effects of these things that we were making.
And it was chemistry, basically.
Yeah, it was magic. Back then it was magic. Now it's chemistry.
Now it's chemistry.
Yeah.
Wow. Great.
All right. So we're going to move on to a little bigger beer here. We're going on to Bootstraps Sticks Pale Ale. So
Bootstraps.
Bootstraps,
All right.
one of the more recent breweries in Boulder. An award-winning pale ale here. So as you can see, we're getting a little bit deeper into the beer pool here. A little bit more richer color.
It's more of an amber, right?
Yeah, a little bit more of an amber, kind of a gold color. This would probably be around a 6 or 8 on the SRM scale.
What's the SRM again?
Standard reference method. It's how they judge the grade beer's color, essentially.
Okay.
And you can tell right away, this one is going to be way hoppier, a little more bitter. So when they say pale ale, there's basically levels of ales. And so pale is how they reference the colors.
And this is Sticks.
This is Sticks Bootstraps Pale Ale. So when you put your sniffer in that, you can already tell
Oh, it's
the hops are right in your face. Yeah, right away. I think so. I think they dry hop these with what they call mosaic hops, which gives you kind of like tropical fruity note to it. It makes my mouth water. All right, so let's give it a little taste here. Right away, you can tell this is a much more bitter beer.
Yeah.
The Bitterness, this would probably be around 30 or so. They rate the bitter. They use the IBUs to rate beer bitterness.
Yeah.
IBU is the International Bittering Units, and it goes from basically like 0 to 80. So 0 would be like water, and 80 would be like a triple IPA.
Okay.
Would be kind of right in the middle there.
I would rate it higher, but you think in the middle, huh?
Yeah, I would
I
say
think
probably
it's pretty
about
bitter.
probably around 40 or so, maybe 45.
You jumped up from 30 to 45.
Well, now that I'm getting more into it, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of washing the other ones away.
What do you guys think? It's bitter, isn't it?
It's very bitter.
It's not bad. It's good. It's. I've had bet more, but it's good.
So this one probably needs a pairing with something, doesn't it?
Yeah. So go ahead and grab your meat stick.
Easy, boy. Easy, big fella.
So we're pairing this with Duke's Tall Boy original recipe smoked shorty sausage, and these are all Boulder snack products.
So when you come out to the symposium, you can get one of your Boulder meat sticks here, okay? There you go.
So Wayne's not digging the beer so much, but he's digging the sticks. So this is a natural casing beef stick. And we paired this one because this one has a little more flavor, has some spices to it, so it's going to hold up to like the bitterness of the beer a little bit more.
I get it. See, now, when Lonnie put these pairings together, I was questioning why would you pair these particular foods or pairings with the beer. Now that I'm tasting this, I understand why you would go with something that's a little spicier, a little sharper.
Yeah,
because the beer, it bites back.
Yeah.
I mean,
if we did it with the chips, then the chips still kind of work well, but like now we have the meat stick, you really need something with a little more flavor. But it's like, pale ale like in sausage.
so
Another
Wayne,
fine classic beer.
Wayne, you like the sticks, right? Wayne's going, yeah, I like the beef sticks.
Actually, it's pork. I don't eat pork.
Ah,
Sorry,
All
I
right.
didn't hear that one.
he doesn't dig on swine.
Oh, is it? Oh, it is. Okay, he's paying attention to the label.
It has a natural casing though, no nitrates. It's a quality snack. If you enjoy pork.
If you've never been to Boulder, it's a pretty health-conscious community. In fact, the people who live here in Colorado, they call it the Republic of Boulder because it's got its own kind of demographic there. People are very health-conscious, big yoga capital, very healthy. A lot of bike riders there.
Hiker, outdoorsy people.
A lot of very outdoor, a lot of hiking.
Climbing.
A lot of climbing. If you go online and take a look at some of the photographs of Boulder, some of the most beautiful mountains, the Flatirons come right down to the campus where CU Boulder, the mountains. It's really quite a lovely community, and they do everything to help preserve the community. So it's
And if anyone had seen some of our promo videos, you might have recognized the Flatirons there. We did a lot of shoots around Chautauqua, which is the base of the park around the Flatirons.
And the Flatirons are the name of the mountain formation, the rock formations that come right down into Boulder. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did anybody see any of the promo videos? We had a really good time making those.
He's a star of it.
Yeah, that's why.
He's plugging
Little
himself.
self-promotion
That's
there.
Shameless, but
Do you see how they were fantastic? So good.
awesome. And the acting is.
If you haven't seen it, go
my
back and
God.
watch him.
Wow.
When I went to Boulder, my dorm that I had, it was called Kit West, and my room faced the Flatirons. I was on the 4th floor, and one wall was all windows. So I kept that room for 3 years
Wow.
because the Flatirons in front of me. But hiking the Flatirons is absolutely incredible. And if everyone on this call has not been there, it's the illusion is crazy because you're going to walk up Chautauqua Park and you think it's flat, and that's the worst part because that's actually a huge slope. And then going up the mountain is actually much easier.
Yeah.
And if you've never been
It's an
there,
illusion. Yeah.
the symposium would be an excellent time to visit. So come to the symposium. It was September 8th next year, 2025. It's going to be held in Boulder. You get to see all the sights, enjoy all these beers, try all the snacks and all the great restaurants. Perfect opportunity to see Boulder and learn about OURAY.
Yeah, book 2 extra nights and spend a little time there. It'll be worth it. You'll enjoy it.
And you can register using the QR code on the flyer that we provided. So I would say get onto that as soon as you can, because we're giving you a kind of the early scoop on this. And registration is open.
The other thing is this is in September, and the leaves are changing at that time. Fall in the Rocky Mountains is unbelievable. It's a quite beautiful time to be here.
Just to remind you, the TRS registration is open, and you can use the QR code and try to fit it into this year's or next year's budget. So we're giving you the heads up, pre-planning. Make sure you guys can make it.
Well, of the 3 beers, this is my least favorite.
Yeah. What's been your favorite so far? Like
the first one.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the favorite so far, gentlemen? Like of the 3, is this like up there? Are we still preferring the first 2?
Second best.
Okay. So
Belgian was the best.
all right. Yeah. That's my favorite too. They're my favorite too. But like this is, we're going through these to kind of give you a good like variety of beer styles. So we had to hit an ale. This is an excellent version of a pale ale. So this is definitely what an ale should taste like, a pale ale should taste like. We're going to move on into the deeper end of the pool here. As soon as I finish this, take your time.
One more bite here.
Wayne likes a Sticks Pale Ale. He's an ale guy. Yeah, I'm gonna little nibble on the meat stick here. Delicious.
Okay.
Looks like Trent likes the Avery as well. So the Avery, big hit. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that one, because it's not a very common style, but I think it's delicious. And again, it's good for like all occasions. Summertime, it's a good Thanksgiving beer. Pairs well with all kinds of things.
Now, what we're about to get into, surprisingly, is a stout, right?
Yes.
I like a stout.
Oh.
Which is I like the swing of the spectrum.
So
I like the light ones, and then if you're gonna go, don't give me the middle. Take me all the way. Yeah. But we'll see it, because I've not had this yet.
It looks like most people prefer the lighter end so far. The stouts is what got me into beer originally. I was like into those coffee kind of chocolate notes. It's not very bitter, again, very drinkable. And so I originally started drinking beer, getting into stouts, and then I moved into big ales, and now I'm into like pilsners and lagers. Something just very drinkable. But yeah, Dagan agrees. These are all good for their style. Thank you. So, do we have any more stuff to give away?
Do we? Yeah, we could do another giveaway. Should we do one? Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
So, okay, we're going to give away a homebrewing beer kit.
Okay. Here's the question. Beers in which country must adhere to the purity law by having a limited number of ingredients? And I'm not going to say the name of that
so
law.
Beers in which country?
Don't say the name of it, because it'll give it away. Beers in which country must adhere to the purity law by having a limited number of ingredients? What is that country?
Looks like Trent.
Trent, you got it. If you can pronounce the name of it, you get bonus points.
Can you pronounce
Germany, Deutschland.
Can you
Deutschland? Can you name the name of the law?
Can you pronounce the name of the law?
I cannot.
The Reinheitsgebot.
The Reinheitsgebot.
Reinheitsgebot.
Yes. And guess what? You get the beer brewing kit.
Yeah, so you can try to brew beer at home.
And we'll all come visit you to make your own beer.
Yeah, I think you can share with us.
Hopefully it turns out good.
If not, we just drink it anyway.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if you're trying to make something specific, it's difficult, but making something drinkable is fairly easy. Brewing beer is relatively easy, unless you're trying to nail a style. If you're trying to make a specific style, it becomes tricky. But if you just want to make a fermented drinkable beverage, not that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, beer was invented because they had pots of leftover grain left in the rain. And
Get outta here,
after a while, it would start bubbling. Somebody thought, what does that taste like? And then they got the fuzzy effects from it. And they're like, that's not too bad. Yeah.
I had no idea, but I assume a lot of things were made, a lot of things were invented through mistakes
Yeah.
throughout history. We won't get into that. Because a lot, boy, we
dig up
could go
some
down
trauma there.
really down a dark road for that. But there's the truth about that.
No, indeed.
So let's go into, and we got another pairing for this one too. But
Yeah,
let's,
so
let's
we're-
open it up first.
We're basically moving on to dessert here in the beer world. So what we have here is Finkel and Garf's Oatmeal Stout. So go ahead and crack this open. Excuse me. And right away you can tell this is a totally different style of beer. So stouts are ales. Stouts, and if you're familiar with porters, are kind of the same family. Porters were popular back in like the 1700s. It was a darker style of beer. It was popular with porters or people who worked on the railroad. That was why they called it that. And then as they started brewing more of them, they became stronger or higher ABV, and they started to refer to them as stouts. So in many ways, stouts and porters are almost interchangeable. There's very small specifics that make them a porter or a stout, but they're almost essentially the same. So right away, you can tell, very dark. This
And
would
the
be
smell is definitely,
yeah,
you just smell it from,
yeah,
got a nutty kind of smell.
nutty, kind of coffee.
Coffee, yeah, which
Yeah.
is a nut. Yeah.
Is coffee a nut?
Now that's good. It's very chocolatey.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Rich loves it. Yeah. Trent likes it. Yeah. Very, very kind of coffee notes to it, like bitter, dark chocolate. It has a kind of dry finish to it. There's many different types of stout. This one they call an oatmeal stout, which means they add oatmeal to the bill grain, the recipe basically.
Easy for you to say.
And what oatmeal does to it is gives it that kind of like body to it. Makes it a little bit richer. Kind of has a little oiliness to it. I think like Guinness. Irish stouts often use.
I like Guinness stout. I really do.
Irish stouts are like Guinness often use oatmeal. Gives you kind of that creamy mouth feel to it.
Dagan says it's nice and balanced. Yep.
Yeah, delicious. So good. And this is an award-winning oatmeal stout. There's American stouts. There's English stouts.
What about? I want to ask you a question about beer temperature.
Okay.
Do you drink a stout at a lower temperature? I mean, a warmer temperature?
No, that's a great question because typically, yeah, certain styles should be drank at certain temperatures. Like lagers, pilsners, usually drank as cold as you can get them. And when you move into ales and kind of like stouts, which is an ale, the best temperature for that is like what they say, like the cellar temp, which would be about 55 degrees. So a little bit warmer, kind of opens up the flavor profile. It's not usually done often in America because Americans like their beers very cold.
Yeah.
They want cold beer and they want it very bubbly. Typically, these styles are going to be a little bit warmer and a little less carbonated. So if you go to England, they have what they call like cask ales.
Yeah.
Those will be served about 55 degrees, low carbonation, which is appropriate for the style, but it's just not very popular here. So this one we've paired with Justin's Almond Buttercups, which is going to, I haven't tried these two together yet, but I feel like this is going to be a winner. So let's crack this open.
Thus, the dessert part of
The dessert part of our show
I see.
here.
So we've given them a whole meal, right? We just
Yeah, I feel like
we've started with the appetizer, the
yeah, little
the entree.
amuse bouche, if you will. Yeah, moved into appetizer. You know, try to give them a little something for the belly, something for the mind. So let's take a bite of the almond butter cup here, and take a sip of the beer. What do you think,
My
Paul?
God.
Huh?
Oh my God.
Rich and delicious.
So if you're entertaining, so let's say you guys are entertaining, and you want to create an evening. Is this a good evening for somebody to invite friends over to do a beer tasting and do something like this where you put those pairings together? Would this be kind of a fun way to invite friends over and do a party?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're enjoying it. So this is like something they can share with friends. They can take this experience, invite some friends, get a sampling of beers, figure out some snacks, sit down, do a little taste test, talk about it. I mean, I enjoy doing that. I do it with my friends. I do it with my family. We do it every Christmas. We do a little beer tasting, but that's just the way we grew up. But yeah, no, I think this is a great way to spend an evening.
It's not a bad idea if you're looking for with the winter coming on, the holiday season, and you're looking for something fun to do with friends and family, something different. From we're going to be partying inside instead of doing the picnics outside that we've been doing this last summer season. This might be a nice way to invite friends over. Pick out 4 or 5 beers and do some pairings like this, and invite 4 couples and say, hey, come on over. We're going to do an evening of beer tasting, and trust me, the conversation will start to flow after that second beer, and you can open as what Lonnie and I are doing is we're sharing a beer. We're not each downing a whole beer together, because then the conversation will get, we'd have to turn the cameras off if we were doing all 4 of these beers. But you have your couples come over and you split a beer together. You could have a really fun evening with some couples. This could make a nice evening.
Dagan suggests we do a Dr. Pepper tasting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was thinking whiskey for the next one. That's the next, yeah. But,
Yeah. Dr. Pepper's interesting.
Well,
yeah.
if you want to hang on the call, we can do some whiskey after
We'll do
this.
some whiskey.
We'll make a whole evening out of it.
But what makes it kind of fun is throwing the pairings in there with it, because then you've got something to absorb a little bit, so your stomach doesn't just go crazy and your head go wild. And play a couple. By the way, one of the things that I would like to do, because we are consuming alcohol, that I'm going to have to do this. This is something that we have to do here on all of our Zoom calls. We have to do a sobriety test where we have to test you guys to make sure that we do this for legal purposes. So I'm going to do this for you. It's a do-it-yourself sobriety test that you can do this at home by yourself. You take a napkin and you put it out like this, and you hold your thumb up, and you put the napkin over your thumb, you wiggle it, and because you have alcohol on your breath, you blow on the napkin, and then you take the thumb off like that, and you put it back and you blow again, and your thumb should reappear. If your thumb does not come back, and you have absolutely no idea how this is done, don't drive. Okay, just stay home and just finish the beers, and eventually we'll send you the instruction on how this is done. Okay, that's a do-it-yourself sobriety test. Okay, at least we've fulfilled our. That's why you're staying here. You're not driving tonight. This fulfills our legal obligation.
How'd you take your
here
thumb
at
off, Paul? How'd you do that?
I know. I'll tell you. I'll show you later. Okay, it's a simple test.
So what do we think of this pairing? Is everyone enjoying kind of the dessert section of our tasting here?
You know what? I want to do one more giveaway.
Oh,
I'm going to do one more giveaway.
Right.
If anybody can answer this question, we'll give you whatever is your favorite beer. We'll give you a package of these, okay? Whoever can answer this question in the time, we've only got about 4 minutes left. Whoever can answer this question, we'll send you whatever's your favorite beer. We'll send you a package of these. If a sundial is the timepiece that has the fewest moving parts, which timepiece has the most moving parts? If a sundial is a timepiece that has the fewest moving parts, which timepiece has the most moving parts? And I'll give you a hint. It is not mechanical, number one. It is not mechanical. 2, it was seen in the film The Wizard of Oz.
Wow, somebody got that?
Guess what? Wayne got it. Wayne, you want to share your answer? Unmic your
An hourglass.
an hourglass.
Except for I need to give my gift to someone else who will enjoy it more. How about Trent? Well, actually, Trent got the beer brewing thing, so I'll have to give.
Why you can't handle? Oh, because you already won one. Is that it?
He's just a generous guy. He doesn't want to spread the love.
I don't love beer, so I'm gonna give it to someone who loves it more. But I like to win, so that's my type of.
I like beer.
All right.
All right, we're going to ask another question then. We'll ask another question, and don't answer this then if you don't want the question. If you don't want, okay? All right. How is it possible for one man to stand behind another man while that man is standing behind him? I'll repeat the question. How is it possible for one man to stand behind another man while that man is standing behind him? They are standing how?
I'm still thinking about the thumb thing.
You're still working on the thumb. I'll give you a visual. How is it possible for one man to stand behind another man while that man is standing behind him? They are standing.
All right.
Dagan, tell your answer, Dagan.
Back to back.
They're
I'm not very
standing
good with
back.
riddles, so it's a miracle I got that. To be honest,
It's a miracle. Life is a miracle.
All right, Dagan.
Which beer do you want?
Which beer would you like?
We'll send you one. Dagan, which beer do you like?
Tough.
We'll
I
send
think
you
I'd
the
go
whole
with
package.
The stout.
The
I mean,
stout?
I'll take them all 4. Yeah, four packs.
You want
I think the stout probably is my favorite.
Okay.
We can send you the whole. We can send you a pack of all 4
We can
if
send
you
a
want.
lineup if you want. If you want 4 of the stouts, just let us know.
Okay.
All right.
Which do you want? All 4 or the stout?
Let's do. I'll do all 4. Let's do all 4 because then I
All
can
right,
share
Dagan,
them
we're
with
easy
friends,
peasy.
like you guys suggest. So sounds
Yeah,
like a good
exactly.
idea.
You could do the exact same thing
For
with
sure.
some friends. Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll
Hey.
throw the snacks in there too. Why not?
We'll throw some snacks in there with you. All right.
Love it. Love it.
You got it. Hey, did you guys have a good time today?
Did we learn some things?
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yep.
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, once again, we want to thank OURAY for sponsoring this. And Aaron Montgomery, thanks for making this happen. And again, we want to remind you all to be there for the Transportation and Response Symposium on September 8th through 11th in Boulder, Colorado. We can't express enough how much fun you'll have and how beautiful it is to be in Boulder in September.
So go ahead and register with the QR code on the flyer. It's open registration right now. Plan ahead. Next year's budget, however you can work it.
And we still got to finish our beers, and I've got to talk Lonnie through how the thumb worked
You took your thumb off your hand.
he didn't understand how that works.
We got some stuff to work out here.
So
All right.
right.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks everyone. Yeah,
cheers,
thanks for joining
everybody.
us. Cheers.
Be
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Be safe,
See you
everybody.
guys.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, Aaron.